Hey guys, back again. Just wanted to tell you exactly what happened when I had this touring pack fitted over at Ducati Cambridge. It was booked in for 2 Fridays ago, tomorrow, and you'll recall that I took the bike over there first thing in the morning, only to be told that the mechanic was working half a day and was then having a week's holiday, despite the fact that I'd had that work booked in for about a month. So pretty annoying, but they, as you know, they gave me a loan bike, and the bike was supposed to be finished Monday or Tuesday this week. I actually phoned up on Monday. No, when did I phone up? Tuesday, and I think I picked the bike up on Wednesday. Well, when I got over there, the screen had been fitted, absolutely no problem at all. The panniers and the new extended subframe with the new lights was on there. One of the indicators was not quite right, and it was pointing up in the air compared to the other one, which was horizontal as it should be. So they quickly came out and adjusted that for me. The other thing, on the screen there is a centre mount. It's normally covered up with a rubber blanking off plate, but I knew that Ducati offered a Garmin sat nav. I don't know whether it was it's a 395 or something like that, and of course I've bought the brand new 595, whatever it is. So we all assumed that the new sat nav would just mount to the mount that's already there on this new screen, but it turns out that that's not the case. Let me grab a piece of paper. If you imagine the screws on the mount are in that orientation, the screws on the new Garmin are actually that way. So what they did, they told me that they had managed to put 2 screws into the Garmin mount, and I said, well, you know, look, if it's got 2 screws in place rather than 4, that's going to be absolutely fine. I've got no issues with that. But when I got there, the actual mount had been screwed in place with 1 screw, and it was completely off centre. And as soon as you touch the mount on the bike, or if you put the sat nav in place, it just tipped over, which was bloody ridiculous. And I was really annoyed that they hadn't done it properly. You know, I'd waited nearly 10 days, was told it was all done, and went over there to find the sat nav hanging off by one screw. So I was pretty bloody cross about that, and I had a moan about that. That's not good enough, really. The poor mechanic spent the next hour and a half fabricating something that would do the job. So at the moment we've managed to get it held in place with a couple of screws. It's slightly off centre still, but it's usable and it's not going anywhere. So at some point it's going to have to go back yet again to have that work done. There was an interesting thing also. You'll remember that the hands-free button on the front of the tank was virtually impossible to trigger. On the lone Ducati Diavel Carbon, the button, if you just touch it, the bike fires up. No problems at all. On mine, you've virtually got to break your finger to press the button. Anyway, so they'd ordered a new hands-free button and fitted it, and it made no difference. And actually it appears that the problem is the actual plastic shroud that's around this button has somehow been moulded incorrectly. So when they tried to fit the new button and shroud, exactly the same problem was arising. And I know this button issue is a problem for a lot of Ducati, I assume Diavel only, I don't know on the other bikes, but it's very, very hard to get it to work, and it shouldn't be. It should just be a matter of a simple press and the whole system comes alive, whether you've got the key in your pocket or you're using the pin code option. So this plastic shroud is actually not quite right, and as you press the button, the shroud is pushing the tip of the button away from the actual switch that it's got to make contact with. So yeah, there's an issue there, and we've now got to wait to see if Ducati have resolved it, whether they've had a dodgy batch, or what the issue is. So it's going to have to go back for that hands-free button to be sorted. On the rear of the bike now there is a very small rack. It's no deeper than about 6 inches probably, and I'll show you that to you on the bike later on. But being picky, I noticed that there was a great big chunk of the enamelled finish missing from it. So again, they've taken a photo of that, and they're going to have to get another one in, and it's quite possible that it comes as part of the full touring kit. So we're going to have to either get the full touring kit in and then just fit the new rack. So again, that's something else that's not right. The actual panniers themselves seem very nice. I think they've got waterproof covers or waterproof internal bags with them, so no problem there. I also had the Ducati Alarm fitted at the same time. Now that comes with 2 remote controls, and you press one button and it will strangely, when you arm something, you would think it would bleep once, and when it unarms it would bleep multiple times, but Ducati have done it the other way around. So when you arm it, it bleeps 3 times, and when you unarm it, it bleeps once. 2 remote controls, and one of them doesn't work. You can pair new remote controls to the alarm. So at the moment I said, look, don't bother, I'll try and decipher the instructions, which are in multiple languages in a poorly photocopied set of sheets, and I'll try and pair the remote control to the alarm. Haven't done that yet, and when I do I will film it, because I think it's quite useful. It involves setting the alarm and then putting the bike through a series of on-off cycles and entering the manufacturer's default code, and then pairing the remote, and you obviously need to change the manufacturer's default code on the alarm, otherwise I think anyone could probably disarm it if they know the right way to do it. So yeah, that wasn't done properly either. And I know I'm being picky, but if you spend this cost me 1,800 quid, so it wasn't cheap. You'd think things like both remote controls functioning correctly would have been checked. I'm now going to have to faff around for half hour, an hour. I'd rather be doing other things. I'd rather be out on the bike than doing somebody else's work for them, especially when I've just paid for it. So yeah, pretty annoying, but the alarm is on, and it's connected through the CAN bus system, so it will flash the lights, and it flashes up on the dashboard and things like that. So it's pretty good. Another really annoying thing with the Ducati Alarm, I thought, right, I'm going to have to phone up my insurance company, who are Carol Nash. I'm going to have to tell them that I've had the screen and panniers fitted, and I'm also going to tell them that I've got the alarm fitted. So I rang Ducati Cambridge and said, can you just tell me the Thatcham category that covers this alarm? And they said that no, they couldn't. It didn't have any Thatcham approval, or if it did, they didn't know. But they did tell me that the bike insurance people would have it on their system and would know all about it. Anyway, so I thought, that seems pretty poor. You would think manufacturer's own alarm would have a Thatcham approval of one type or another. So I rang Carol Nash and told them that the panniers, screen and alarm all done £1,800, and when I told them about the alarm, she looked up on her system and had no information on the Ducati own brand alarm system, and she just added it as alarm other. So certainly won't be a discount next year for having the Ducati alarm fitted, I wouldn't have thought. They obviously know about the Ducati immobiliser, but there certainly won't be anything extra off for an unknown alarm, although they did note that it was Ducati branded and fitted by the dealer. So yeah, again, pretty disappointing result with the alarm as well. I do have to set that up correctly. Obviously I've got to change the pin code, and I also have to check the sensitivity of the alarm. I would like it to be very sensitive, so if somebody knocks into the bike it sets it off, but I don't know how sensitive it can go, but that's something else we'll be setting up. So yeah, that's pretty much covered everything. The screen is okay, it takes all of the wind off of your body, but again, like that Prig screen, I do still have some helmet buffeting caused by the screen. I guess I'm just going to have to get used to that. You know, you can't have a screen that's higher than the helmet. Well, I suppose you can, but it's probably not going to look very good. It's a shame they couldn't have fitted some sort of diverter, you know, as an additional adjustable feature on the screen that I've seen on some screens. But that's what it is. That's what we've got. So, but at least I've got some storage now, so I can turn up on Sundays with a drink and a bag and books and bits and pieces. Yeah, that's going to help. I suppose you could. I'm going to put some gloves in there in case the weather changes. I've got the waterproof gloves, or my more expensive gloves for when it's dry. So all in all, pretty good. But the cherry on the bloody cake was I had a squeaky clutch lever, and it didn't appear to be the pivot point. I think I may have mentioned this already. I thought it was more the rod that's activating the cylinder's piston. So anyway, as they were reading off the list of charges, blah blah blah, and they said, oh, £6.50 for greasing the clutch boot and mechanism. I thought, £6.50 for a bike that's two months old? They said, yeah, oils and grease, you know, they're all consumables. So they put me out for 10 days, charged me 1,800 quid, and couldn't grease, and then got it bloody wrong, you know, cocked up the sat-nav things, so it was unusable without modifications whilst I was there. Oh, and I was supposed to have a battery charger, charging port fitted. I was going to buy their recommended battery charger. It wasn't a Ducati one, it was another one, an Alpha something, I can't remember. But they were going to modify the wiring. I think they just cut the old socket off and popped the new one on, and they fit it somewhere on the bike that's accessible without taking the seat off. And I just mentioned that, and no, they'd forgotten to do that as well. So to charge me £6.50 for greasing the clutch mechanism, I thought was a bit rich, really. But hey, it's just me perhaps. Anyway, that's enough of that. This video's really dragged on into 2 or 3 clips probably, but I thought I'd give you the rundown of my usual bad luck when it comes to dealers and and stuff like that. But it's back, still work to be done on it, and it'll have to go back to have that work done at some point. Anyway, next video, I'm going to take you out and show you the bike and see what you think of it. Catch you later.